What's up?
What episode is this?
Do not say.
127.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Episode 127 of the UNFAMOUS Podcast. It's boy Sean, Mr. NJ Brick City.
Just Kia.
Joe Cool.
Osmond.
I'm not mad at it.
I felt like he had to do a second guess, like he was gonna act up, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I feel like that's
I'm used to it by now. Shout out to Josh. Shout out to Jake. Josh is hella tired from the new schedule.
So when did that start for him? Was it this week or
Last week.
last week? Okay, all right. Yeah, and he get up. He said it's 2 a.m. He gets up, right? Or is that what time he has to be there?
He has to be there at 3:45.
3:45.
Like probably 1:30.
Why so early?
You gotta adjust.
Oh,
Your body.
that's a lot.
The human body's not meant to wake up at that time.
I mean,
You know,
Not
I was
normally.
meant to sleep at that time.
Yeah, you know, I mean, from studies show that is your peak point of rest when you are in a deep sleep. So, yeah, some people, if you want to do it, that's because you want to do it. You know, it's okay. But if you ain't did it and you get forced to do it,
Whole different thing.
yeah, you're already kind of not really feeling the vibe anyway. So,
well,
I
he
know.
can bid in a couple months, right? That's what he said.
about 5 months.
Okay. By that time, his body will be used to it.
But hopefully, I'm hoping that's those. God willing, because I did it. And I was on it for about from January until September. So yeah, it was not fun.
I'd be irritable as hell.
I was.
That might be why the people were so rude in the Atlanta airport when I went in there. It was like I think my flight was at 6, so I got there at like 5:15, and they were not with the shits. It was like, listen, y'all need to learn how to be leaders. Come in the other line, please. Keep the line. I was like, yo, why y'all so mad this early in the morning?
Cause man, we don't have time for that shit.
I was like, good morning. It was like, keep the line moving, please.
You do not look. I'm letting you know.
I was like,
as an
I
officer.
was like, listen, I thought it was a spirit in there, boy. I had to pray right quick.
As an officer, we do not care for that shit. It's like, bro, this morning, man, please get all the way the fuck out of my face. Like, I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, Lord.
We're not even trying to be mean, but we
Take
just
off
being
your
honest.
shoes. Please check yourself. If you got a jacket, take it off.
But you know, I'm gonna keep it funky though. You know why we do that though? Because nobody listens. Nobody hears us. It's like it's the same thing each time. It's like, bro, y'all ain't paying attention. All right, cool. Now we just gonna be dicks to y'all. So it's like, all right. Why y'all so mean? Cause I told you 8 times to take that water out of your bag, right? And then you got stopped for the same fucking water that I told you to take out of the
It
bag.
do be a lot
That's
of
the water
signs.
I got on the plane. Like,
I don't care.
every time it's the water you got on the plane.
I'm
Every
like, I don't
time.
give a damn. Take it out of your bag.
That's funny.
Like, it's the same rule since 2006. Like, bro. Well, when do y'all start doing this? You know what? Go home, sir.
I was about to say, in some smaller airports, they're not as strict. Because I know when I went through, when I was in Des Moines, when I flew out of Des Moines, they let us take whatever. Like, it was more like customer service. It
I'm
wasn't
about
like
to
TSA.
snitch.
I'm dead ass. Like,
I'm about to snitch.
they were like, I mean, they gave me a call and was like, hey, call in, tell us how our customer service was.
Nah.
Like, it was less of a.
Was it, wait. Was it,
It was a
TSA
really-
or
it was a-
security?
No, I was going through. Does security do the bag thingy?
Yeah, because in
Different.
certain airports.
Oh, they don't always have TSA
Yeah,
there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was always TSA.
And
They
that's
had
that
the blue
part.
shirts on?
Huh?
They had the blue shirts on?
Oh, I couldn't tell. They all had on like sweaters and shit.
Nah. probably not.
Even if it was security, they
Oh,
still
okay.
ain't supposed to let it happen. So I'm about to snitch.
Oh. Wait, so
They
I
do
didn't know.
everything.
I thought TSA had to be at like the baggage checks and stuff like that when you're getting on the
It
plane.
depends, it depends on the airport.
Some airports are
have
private.
Outsourced it.
Oh.
Maybe like, I don't know, the 5%.
Well, it's still
10%.
TSA, like,
Mandated.
mandated.
Yeah, but some airports they don't follow the same.
Yeah, they
Oh.
just letting y'all
Right,
do
so
that.
they're like privately owned,
Yes,
then
they're
they kind
private.
of can operate outside of.
Not necessarily though, because they still gotta follow our SOP. So they still gotta do it.
Like,
Yeah,
Now-
but what I'm saying is they don't have to have TSA there.
No, they don't have to.
Oh,
But, you know,
okay.
they still gotta follow. They'll still have TSA. They'll have managers.
Oh.
They'll have the TSA managers there or something like that.
Man, it was like some nice old ladies over there. They was like, hey, how you doing? It's okay. Take your time. I was
Right.
like,
She was
wow,
the one,
damn,
right?
dog.
That
Yeah,
shit
the
makes me
one,
feel
yeah.
so uneasy right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, bruh, okay, any terrorists that might be listening to this show, thanks for listening, number one. But, bro.
Hey, share it with your friends, dog. You know,
But
if you're in the cave, you
please.
held up, you need something to listen to.
Because, I mean,
very entertaining. Just saying.
That's the thing, though, because when people be doing shit like that, and all it takes is for everybody to kind of figure, oh, Des Moines, they don't care? All right, cool. All it takes that one time, you be like, damn.
Oh, well, I ain't trying to get nobody.
I just
in
say they were
trouble.
just being nice.
Yeah, I thought they were just being nice.
I don't care.
I mean, shit.
I'm nice. I just nicely tell you to take that shit out your bag. I do. I'm like, hey, man, you got water in your bag? It's not open. Doesn't matter. Take it out. Get rid of it.
Can I drink it?
Yeah. Go back over there. Get out my face.
Lord
Can I take
Jesus.
some out and put it in another bottle?
Bruh, nope.
People ask that.
Yes.
Yeah, for lotion and stuff.
Yeah. You know what I tell them? Like, yeah,
Oh,
you got another
I
bottle,
just
go ahead.
don't- I never know what I'm supposed to pack for stuff like that, so
Can
I
I
just
use
wait
some
until I
right
get
now?
to where I'm going and buy small shit. Like, I don't pack
Why
that
don't
shit.
you just ask us?
Because I'm not going to remember. Like, it's easier for me to just buy the shit when I get to where I'm going.
I'll give you the easiest way possible.
Like,
Lotions and all that shit, just put it in your check bag.
I never check a bag.
Or
Ever.
go to Walmart
I don't
and they
trust
have
it.
these 3.4 ounce bottles.
Yeah, I'm not doing all of that, dog. No, I'll just buy what I want when I get to where I'm going.
See?
But I'm still following the rules. It's not in no bag. It ain't even with me.
I'm not gonna be. Wait.
See?
Wait, do you know what kind of person you are?
Mhm.
When you traveling back, you bring the same shit.
No, I don't.
You don't.
No.
You don't.
No, that's
You
why I
sure?
buy the travel size when I get to where I'm going.
Oh, if you get
I
travel
rid of
size,
it.
we don't
yeah,
care.
I
But
get
that's
rid
the
of
thing,
it.
though. You can have travel size on the plane, so we don't care about that. It's the big shit.
No, I never pack the
Okay, so don't keep doing
But
the
I just never know, so I don't bring it.
Well, I'm letting you know now. If it's travel size, we don't care. You can take that all day, every day. But what be killing me is when you got like 50 ounces of fucking lotion. Like, bro, what the fuck do you need all this lotion for on
You
the
know
plane?
what they need it for.
On the plane?
Cocoa butter.
Maybe. I saw a video like that.
Bro, y'all some nasty people.
What kind of videos you looking up? Like I've never seen.
No, it wasn't the guy. It was the guy doing the girl, but someone sent it to me. It was an idea.
The Mile High Club.
Bro,
Yeah, a little bit. Not really.
stay off Pornhub.
Can it? It wasn't Pornhub. I promise it wasn't. It wasn't Pornhub. A guy sent that to me. It was an
Man, shit,
idea.
bro. You better not do that.
It wasn't actual intercourse.
I'm about to. I'm about to snitch.
But apparently it's not illegal to have sex on a plane.
Bro, I got
Why
an
would
itching
it
for
be?
snitching.
Say it.
I'm pretty sure it would still be classified as public indecency.
Yeah.
Is it really though?
If
If you're
you're-
not publicly indecent, like if you're covered?
I don't know.
Like
How about
in-
this?
like
Go
in the
try it and see what
bathroom,
happens.
in the bathroom.
What about that one case?
You
that-
could technically. I mean, you could fit it there.
See, what about that one case with the school bus and the guy in his car?
That's something
Did you hear
different,
about
bro.
that shit? That shit was crazy.
Yeah, but he
So-
wasn't covered. Like
Yeah, but at the same
his
time,
penis
he
could
was
be
in
seen.
his car.
Right, but his
Doing
car
what?
had windows.
He was masturbating, but at the same time,
Sometimes you
if it
gotta
wasn't
look
a school bus that came by, nobody else would have saw it.
I was
That's
actually
like,
so that's the second
it's a
time
gray
I heard
area.
about a friend of mine who's a truck driver. He noticed that before, like he was on the interstate, they were stuck in traffic, and he happened to look down, and a dude was like masturbating in like while they were in traffic on the interstate, and I was like, is it that bad?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's not. Yeah, you're right. But at the
is
same
it
time,
that bad?
That's
would that
just
be
a-
considered public indecency
That's
if
just
you're
a
in your
rush,
personal
man.
vehicle?
Yes, because the public can
That's
see
just
in your
indecent.
car, and
Yeah.
you're
It
on
is-
a public road.
Son, yeah, it's still public indecency. Trust me.
All he had to do was throw a jacket over him, and he was good.
You're gonna be thinking about jacket in the moment, dog. Like,
I was on a plane. And the more
He
annoying
wasn't
than
trying to
that,
about wrapping a jacket. He was just jacking.
yeah.
like more annoying than that, some people like take their shoes off and they put their foot
Oh,
on
shit.
the armrest. You ever had that happen with people?
Actually, I saw a video with
I
a
don't
dude.
want your foot next to my arm.
It was a little
I don't
boy,
like
and
people's
the
feet
little
on
boy was
anything
like,
in my car in the first place.
Yeah, like imagine being in the plane. Like,
in the
put your
video,
foot
it was a little black boy. He was like, "Ooh, daddy, they stink."
I'd beat his ass.
Damn.
I'd beat his ass. I was
Why?
like, that's not how you talk to adults, mother.
What?
Going back
Nah,
home.
that lady had no business putting her feet up on his armrest, man.
Learn to stay in the child's place. Okay?
And keep her feet with
Talking.
Be it.
Why you out here being fresh?
Not fresh. That's the problem, daddy. Her feet not fresh.
See, there you go.
That's a perfect comeback.
You just find all kinds of reasons to spank your child. Like, don't say nothing.
Poor little child.
Can I breathe?
No.
Why are you talking?
It's
Anywho,
expensive.
how was everyone's week?
Who do you want to start with?
We'll start with you, Sean.
Show you, Sean.
I don't know. It was alright. I mean, I didn't do anything. So Thanksgiving, I didn't do anything. I just sat in the house and cleaned up.
Did some reading.
I did more cleaning actually than reading that day. Y'all seen my apartment, and it was cluttered, and it was cluttered. Yeah, and I was like, all right, I have way too much clutter in here, and I feel like there's direct, when you have clutter in your place, you almost have a cluttered life. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have, any peace or anything like that. So I was like, okay. I woke up that Thursday morning. I was like, all right, I'm gonna clean up. So started with the living room. Started going through boxes and shit. And I was like, damn, why the fuck do I have these papers from like 2012 and all that? I'm like, let me throw this away. And I was like, all right, let me clean the kitchen. I was like, okay, go to my room. Went to my room. I was like, all right, all these clothes all over the place. Went ahead, went to my like sock drawer and all that. I'm like, I don't wear any of these socks. Threw them out. Went through like underwear shit. I'm like, I don't wear these. Threw them out. A bunch of like old white beaters. I'm like, I don't even wear these. I'm like, threw those out. Cleaned up everything. Cleaned my bathroom. And then I want to say hours later, because it took me a good portion of the day. Because I just took my time. I didn't have a goal in mind to finish it. I feel like when you just do shit on your own time, it's calming and it feels good. So I had on some music and I just did some cleaning. And I was like, damn, this shit feels pretty fucking awesome. So I was like, all right, I did that. And I felt pretty good. Like, after, I have been reading, just listening on some things, and I'm in a good place as far as the way my mind is working. I don't have a lot of just clutter in my brain, I guess you could say, in layman's terms. So, I'm actually in a happier spot when it comes to the way my thought process is going. What I have been doing, though, which is a little frustrating, I've been trying to find myself a therapist, and that's a little hard for me right now.
There's a black-owned group in Rock Hill, off Black Street.
What's it called?
I'll send you the info.
What's it called?
I can't remember.
Do they accept Blue Cross Blue Shield or some shit?
That's what the district uses, right? Blue Cross Blue Shield, like the school district.
I mean, that's what I have. So
I mean,
I'm just saying, I don't know, they might
Call them and find out.
save me a buck or two, but
yeah,
please send me that info.
black
So
owned.
that's been a little frustrating because I'm trying to find a therapist because that's gonna be my biggest thing. Even with me being in a good headspace at the moment, it's like, I still want to find out the root of what my depression is. Let's try to talk out some of this stuff, and maybe I can look at things a little bit differently. Went to go see Queen and Slim.
I've heard mixed reviews on that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Awesome movie. Now, the dialogue was kind of choppy.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was like.
So I heard the acting was amazing, but I heard the storyline wasn't good enough. That's what I heard.
Well, the storyline is just Bonnie and Clyde.
Acting was great. Some of the things that happened was just like.
Come on now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like that. Like a lot of that.
Okay.
But the acting was so good. It kind of every time something happened that was crazy. The acting was so good, and the visuals were so good. It kind of brought you back into
beautiful visuals. Okay. The soundtrack. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, soundtrack dope.
Yeah.
What?
That's what's up.
It speaks of just black love and struggle. And it's a dope soundtrack. So I really enjoyed that. What else did I do?
I think what intrigued me about the movie is that it was a movie about black struggle, but it wasn't about black people just laying down and taking it or finding more diplomatic way to handle it. Like, I haven't seen the movie, but that's what I got from the previews. Like, I like that they were just like, nah, fuck that shit, we out here. Like, that intrigued me. That's really why I wanted to see it. Like,
so that part is
I'm tired of seeing us follow the rules.
Exactly how it kind of was. Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to see some other shit. I know we can follow rules. What the fuck?
It was, I mean...
But it was much more of a story about relationships, actually, to me. More so than black struggle.
That it
but
was.
I think that's when the director, she made mention of, or the writer, or where is she? Yeah, is she the director or the writer?
She's the writer.
The writer. Okay, I think she made mention about that, like how the relationships were highlighted, I guess, in the story.
Yeah. But the best part of the movie is my man, what's it, Bokeem Woodbine. Yeah. That's my guy.
That's the black dude?
No.
No.
You might not,
Yeah, you might not. You ever seen Jason's Lyric?
Yes, I love that movie.
Okay, so the nigga who killed, what's her name?
The crazy brother.
The crazy brother.
Oh, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, president.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Dope.
I haven't seen him in anything bad, really.
He was in Wu-Tang shit. He's in Wu-Tang stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, I haven't watched all of it, but
So, yeah, great movie. Yeah, for the most part, that was pretty much my week. Work, that, I'm about to be working 6 days this week, so I don't want to, but I have to. So, no, I'm not worried about it. Like, actually, I feel like the more that I give myself to do, the more it's easier for me to not just focus on anything negative or allow negative thoughts to creep into my space. Because what I read is that, you know, you can't have a thought or a feeling without thinking it first. So, you know what I'm saying? If you're feeling sad or, you know, down, you have to first feel that way. So I'm feeling like, you know, let me give myself some stuff to do until I really, you know, get a little bit more control over my feelings and my emotions about certain things. So it's been good, like, you know, that, and I've been watching this show, and I feel like everybody should watch it. I told Oz about it yesterday. It's called The Toys That Made Us. It's on
Great
Netflix.
show. I saw that.
Thank you. That shit is good.
Yeah.
It's very good. Really, really good. So what it does is just goes through, it's like 4 episodes, 3 seasons. 4 episodes, you know, each season. And each episode is like 45 minutes long, maybe an hour. And it'll talk about each one of these toys that we remember from our childhood, whether it be Power Rangers, whether it be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they'll break down how it was created, how it was, you know, how it started, which toy companies actually had the licensing to it, where they might have got the idea from, where it might have dropped, where it kind of picked up more steam, and all that. Like, it's so intricate on how they talk about it. I'm just watching it like, wow, this is really interesting. Like, when it came to the Power Rangers thing, like, I was like, okay, I remember Power Rangers. This is my shit. That shit, if you look at it now, it's like, bruh, all they did was take footage from Japan, right? That was like 5 or 6 years older than when that show actually debuted in the US. Played all the fight shit was from Japan. So that's old shit. Japan's already seen that shit. All they did was take American actors, had them do whatever they're doing. Okay, whatever. Fight scene. Now y'all go away. We put the old Japan shit up here, and y'all just gonna talk over it. That's it. Literally, that's it. I was like, because if you really pay attention to it, like you look at the what's her name, Rita Rapunzel, right? Repulsa, whatever her name was.
Oh yeah.
So every time you would see her, like her shit was dubbed. Like if you watch her, like when she talked, it looked like the old Chinese movies where it's just dubbed and shit.
Yeah,
You're
but
like,
at the same time, when it came to the Power Rangers, like they're behind the mask, so it's easy to kind of dub.
Yeah, exactly. So it was almost like
it was easy.
It's kind of lit. Like that was just a sweet lick. Like I'm like, damn, I wish I would have thought about that. Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah. And the guy who came up with it, Hayam Saban, that dude was like he's a Jewish guy. He was in like a music group making Jewish music, and he was like, I like this show. I want to bring it to the United States. So it's so interesting. Yeah. So it's that's dope. I did watch another documentary, Hitsville, the making of Motown, and that it just came out. So it was on Showtime. You know, I had Sling. They gave me like a little free preview, but If y'all have a chance to go look it up and watch it, watch it. It is really, really good. So it just talks about how Motown was started all the way from the bottom. They talked about the process, how they would do certain songs, because Berry Gordy and like Smokey Robinson, they're just talking, and they're just just like it's funny because they have moments where you be like, these are two old niggas right here, yo. Like, for real. Like, and the way he was talking, he was like, when I heard it from the through the grapevine came out and blah blah blah.
Bro, little 5 artists did that song and it was different.
Now here we go. Now here we go. Because this is what he said. Because Smokey's like, yeah, he's like, Gladys Knight came out with it first, and then Barry was like, no, it was Marvin Gaye. He's like, no, I'm trying to tell you, Gladys Knight came out with it first. Yeah. So then he's like, no, it was Marvin Gaye. I'm trying to tell you. This is the funny part.
Yeah.
Smokey was like, all right, better hunt. I was like, he's like, better hunt. So then he find out Marvin Gaye did it first. He's like, damn. I was like, I'm watching it and I'm just like, this is dope. And then they were playing some of the songs, like you would hear David Ruffin doing My Girl, but they had it without the the instruments and all that. So they actually have them in the studio, just showing them like the footage from the studio when he was actually singing it. That man's voice was heavenly.
He could have just stayed off them drugs.
Yeah. They did Marvin Gaye's which song was it? Was it What's Going On? I think so. Yeah,
I feel like Smokey Robinson, like I don't think we have one of our generation, but maybe of y'all's generation was like Babyface as far as songwriting goes. Like I feel like they're on the same level as far as the amount that they contributed. Because Babyface wrote a shit ton of songs.
Yeah, I would say generation after that. I would say Gamble and Huff.
Oh, definitely.
I would say Ashford and Simpson, like those.
Oh yeah. They had them on the Soul Train Awards this year.
Yeah, those.
I didn't realize they did vocal songs.
Those are the most prolific people I've heard of. You know.
I didn't even realize we went. Babyface was a part of some concert we went to, but he was playing some of the songs that he had done, and I was like,
yeah, he's done a lot.
Damn, like, damn, you got to write some shit to the songs. Yeah. Sheesh. Okay.
I'm sorry, that thing hit me different. I ain't been hit like that in a minute.
Right then.
Had me reminiscing for a second. That's how I do my little shimmy.
Tigers and Bears.
What? Nigga, I miss her. Shit. Damn. I just wanted to take me a sip.
Is that like your go-to phrase?
God damn it.
Huh? Oh my. Lions and Tigers.
I don't know. Who's up next? Shit.
I'll go, yeah. So it's been 2 weeks. Moved into the new place. I'm kind of officially a resident of Charlotte now. So hello, Queen City. So that was a lot, getting everything moved, but we got it done. What else? Oh, me and the roomie put together a dining room table, y'all, from Big Lots. But it was like the table and the chairs. It took us like 2 hours. Like the chairs had a lot of fucking bolts and screws. I was like, God damn.
Did y'all have the right tools?
Yeah.
I mean, not tools they gave you, but y'all had your own tools.
No, so it only used like the wrench, but you couldn't use a regular wrench. Like it was too large. You could only use a small one to fit in there. But we used our own screwdriver, but yeah, I guess so. It was like,
and I got power tools and everything, so I'd be like,
so I wish that when I was doing like the regular screws, I was like, damn, I wish I had a power tool, like, fuck. But it was interesting. I had to like go rent a truck from Lowe's to get it packed up and then get it to the house, and then we put it on a little dolly to get it up to the stairs, and then we like flipped it up the stairs to get it in the house. Jesus Christ. But we did it though, by ourselves. God damn it. So that was a fun adventure. Just trying to get the house together. Like it though. Like the new place is cool. Thanksgiving, I slept all day. I was gonna drive home. I heard I missed a good time. My cousin had the liquor flowing. My auntie was sick, so they was getting drunk in the house instead of outside. So yeah, They had a good time. Lots of food, spades, Uno. You know, that's what my family do. They play cards and shit. They even play Taboo this time. So I miss them, but slept a lot and chilled with some friends here in Charlotte, and you know, getting acclimated. So
welcome to Charlotte.
thank you. We'll be having a housewarming in January.
What's up?
So these are different women. Or you
It's just me and Brenda now. So,
Brenda?
yeah, Bria's in Greenville, so just me and Brenda.
Brenda was always there. She was on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get?
And she was in Greenville.
Bria did. Bria moved to
For a
Greenville.
job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Shout out to Bria. Love you. But yeah, that's pretty much been it. Oh, next weekend. Yeah, not this weekend. Next weekend is the main's birthday, so he'll be spending his birthday weekend with me. Woohoo.
Okay.
We're excited. Got some things planned, so.
Happy birthday. I already know what's planned. I have a hint.
I'm baking cookies.
Yes.
Oh, that's what you call it now?
That's wholesome.
You about to put something in the oven?
Oh shit, is that Keith?
All
Oh
right.
shit, what's up, Keith?
How
God
was
damn.
your how have you been, Joe?
I've been good. I had a great week. Nika started walking. And
Woohoo!
he's talking a bit, you know, hi and bye, and he knows everybody's names and different words like that. Just the talking process has started, and he's really getting around a lot, and that was fun to see that. Because once he realized he could do it, like walk across down the hall, he just started practicing that. And
You start running it?
He's not running yet, but he definitely is jumping up. Like, you know, the first, like, you know, he's using the sofa to get up. Now he just can get up. He just kind of hops up. So he's gonna be running very pretty soon. By the time we go to by the time Christmas comes around, go to New York, he'll probably be in full because his little cousin's there, 6 months older. So I'm sure
yeah.
they come together.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
I want when kids see other kids doing shit, they be like, "Oh, if they can do it, I know I can do it." Like,
so I'm looking forward to that. Everybody is, you know, his grandmother, you know, they're FaceTiming, and he said hi to her. She's like, "Oh my God, son!" Like hi, like he said it like 3 times in a row. You know, he says hi once, he just keeps saying it.
mm-hmm.
He like, look,
Just-
that's
they
what I
like
know
a
right
positive
now.
reinforcement.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it was
That's what I
good.
know. Let's go.
Other than that, you know, I saw Queen and Son yesterday. You know, everything is pretty accurate as far as, you know, great acting. Just shit that happened in the storyline was kind of crazy. I saw the Irishman.
Bro, that shit long as fuck from
By
our
Jimmy
early.
Hoffa.
Dope.
That was a quick 3 hours and 30 minutes though. That shit was dope. With the Jimmy
Is
Hoffa.
it like an action movie or something?
No.
Nah, basically the
You
story
know
of
about Jimmy Hoffa?
Jimmy Hoffa, the Teamsters Union president.
Gangsters and shit back up in New York and all that. And
Yeah.
Hoffa is, you know, they say he was supposedly buried in which stadium?
In Giant
The Giant Stadium in
in the end
Oxford.
zone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the storyline that sounds more realistic from the movie is, according to people who did it, because basically it's about the guy, like De Niro's character is the guy who shot Jimmy Hoffa.
Mm-hmm.
What sounds more realistic to me is that they put him into a crematory oven and burned him after they shot him. So that sounds more realistic to me.
Mm.
But he said that's what happened to him. So it was great. That was a great movie. I mean, the actors, Joe Pesci.
I'm thinking about watching it.
Joe, it's not a waste of time. It's a quick 3 hours. It's 3 hours 30 minutes though, but it's great.
They killed that shit.
Who?
No, it was good. They killed it. It was really
More people say it reminds people a lot of Goodfellas.
Ooh, I
That
love
same
Goodfellas.
vibe, yeah.
Because of that Joe Pesci, how they narrated it, and then
I love
Joe Pesci. But Al Pacino was in it too, so
Oh,
he
yeah.
played the fuck out of Jimmy Hoffa.
Al Pacino.
I love
He's
it. But
great.
he's an amazing actor in general. Like, I've never seen him. He takes on a role so well that you forget that he's actually a person outside of that role.
Oh,
It's me, Al Pacino.
yeah. But then the funny is he'll have that voice he'll put in there
Mm-hmm.
that is in every character.
Staple.
Like, he was in
Al Pacino.
He's always a mafia.
He's like, hey.
Either that or the one where he was the devil with Keanu Reeves.
He's like,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah, that shit was great.
He's like, you talking about Devil's Advocate? He's like,
Devil's
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that voice. He started that voice in that movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He wasn't doing that shit in like The Godfather or
No, he was sounding more
Mm.
Italian.
that voice he does.
Mhm.
Oh,
Now he
good
does it in
looking
every movie.
Heat. Watch Heat.
Oh,
I
you saw Heat?
I heard of it. I don't know if I've
What?
seen it though.
Watch Heat.
Is it like an older movie?
It's
Came out like
93 or something.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yes, an
93,
older
I think
movie.
it's like
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's 2019.
I think it came out like 98.
This came out a few years ago.
Let's see when it came
It
out.
was in color, wasn't it?
Barely.
Nah, it was good though. I mean, that's my favorite De Niro Pacino movie.
Oh, okay. I love De
Irishman
Niro
comes
too.
close.
Oh,
But
God,
yeah.
I love De Niro.
So those, it was catching up on a lot of different things.
Came out in 95, actually.
95. Okay.
Yep. Good movie, though.
Yeah, it's great. I had a couple of days.
From like 24 years ago. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
Had Val Kilmer in it. It's really
it's fantastic.
But
I
it's
may
about
have
3
seen
hours.
it.
too.
I probably just don't know the name of it.
You probably seen it on TV and just didn't even recognize
Yeah, I
it.
probably
Yeah,
just don't know the name.
unlike Queen and Son, both the acting and the story made sense.
Damn, bro.
Sheesh. Shots
Nah,
fired.
you really feel
I digress. But yeah, but other than that, just catching up. I had a couple of days with the holiday to chill, and not be busy and just chill at the house, and that's it. So it worked out well. But
What's up? Osmond?
Ozzy Oz.
My week was very eventful. So
Was it really, or are you bullshitting us?
I am not bullshitting.
Okay.
He's not concerned, actually.
I ain't bullshitting. So started my week, car started acting stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Had to fucking drive all the way to the shop. New transmission again.
Again? When was the last time you got a new one?
3 years ago.
Is that normal?
No.
So what they did is they tested it and they found out that coolant was getting into the fluid or whatever, and it was causing it to boil when it heated up. Yeah, so the guys that fixed it the first time, they didn't diagnose that problem. So it just happened. The same issue happened
So it fucked up the transmission again.
the same way.
Yeah.
So the guys that had to repair it, they basically bypassed it and it won't do that problem again. So
Because I saw you driving in, so.
yeah, so
Does it feel different?
that
So
shit
wait.
was monstrous.
So you had to get a new transmission and they had to do some type of bypass?
So it's like
Listen, when he says bypass, I think about like some
Yeah,
heart surgery.
okay,
So
okay.
I'm
No.
not
You
a
know
car
what?
person.
You know what's so
okay?
funny? Because
So,
like she's asking, she's really like,
okay.
huh?
So it's
fucking no.
Is it
so
living?
I'm about to get real nerdy right now,
You
and
could be
I'm gonna
a
try to
little
describe it
It's not a transformer.
as best as possible.
Can you relate it to the human body? Because then I think I'll
Yeah.
understand
Well,
better.
in a sense, it's not gonna be that hard to relate.
Okay.
You know? Okay, how about
So-
this? It got sepsis.
No.
No,
Yeah,
seriously. No, that's literally
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was. It got sepsis.
I get that
yeah,
part, but
essentially.
I'm talking about like how they fix
Okay.
it.
Okay. So
Oh, you
the
can't-
transmission,
Oh, he died. They got a new person. Oh,
so it,
it's a baby.
so
Hey, Josh.
it had a heart transplant. Anyway, the radiator contains, I guess, it cools off the transmission
Mm-hmm.
just
it
like
contains the coolant.
the it cools down the engine, right?
Mhm.
They're located in the same radiator. So what happens is, I think over time the coolant starts getting into the transmission fluid. I guess it gets older and stuff like that. So how they bypassed it is they gave it its own radiator that sticks in the front.
So you got
Yeah.
two radiators in your
Yeah,
car now?
well, it's a smaller one, but
Oh.
it works really well and it keeps.
Oh.
Does the car sound better though?
It doesn't change the sound.
So
I know.
it's
I mean,
like-
like, does it?
In a
like,
human, if a person has a bad kidney, they get rid of the bad kidney
Yeah,
and
it's
replace
kinda
it
like-
with a new one.
yeah,
Like,
basically.
hey, got you a kidney.
So as far as the bypasses, all they did was reroute the cables to the neutrons.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it is kind of like a bypass.
Yeah,
That's what they do
essentially
in
it's a
heart
bypass.
bypasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, I follow.
But
you know something.
you know, that was one thing. That was one event. So I had to drive my dad's car like the whole fucking.
I knew that was your dad's car too.
Yeah, but like lo and behold, like my mom has been off because she had to get knee surgery, so she hasn't even been able to drive. But you know, she's recovering right now. She's doing good now. She's walking and stuff.
Awesome sauce.
You know, she's gonna be out for a couple weeks. So, but for some reason, my car chose to break down right at this time where it was like my dad could use her car and I could use his car.
Mhm.
I had no issues.
Look
Like,
at God.
just got it fixed.
Look
You know what
at
I'm
God.
saying? That's
That was up.
Yeah, a little Pacino.
Look at God.
You trying to sound like Kia?
I'm being serious. No.
I'm just
Bruh.
waiting for Kia to say.
No.
I say it a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, okay.
But I'm being serious though. Look at God, yo. Like, Bruh, like I told you about my situation. I mean, not to take away from your story, but like I told him about my situation with my car. So last week when we recorded, I was sitting in the parking lot at the job until it was time for me to come here, and I was just listening to Joe Rogan podcast. Time for me to cut on the car. I'm like, oh shit, battery's going dead. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, all right. Call Josh up. He comes and gives me a jump. Cool. So get here, no problem. Get home, no problem. The next day, car still kind of, acting up. I'm like, damn, what the fuck's going on with it? So I ended up getting, because I needed a new portable jumper, so you don't have to worry about getting cables. So I got one of those, jumped in, and I was like, all right, well, the next day, I'm going to go ahead and take it to AutoZone just to test the battery. Test the battery, they were like, battery's dead. It's dying. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
How long have you had the battery?
2 years. Because I got it back in 2017 of, when was that hurricane?
Oh,
October or September, yeah. Basically when I first moved back home. So I go to AutoZone, he was like, all right, blah, 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 whatever. So he's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and replace it. I'm like, all right, I'm about to pull my card out. And he's like, yeah, it's under warranty, so you don't owe me anything. I'm like, oh, shit.
What's up?
And I'm just sitting there like, wow. I was like, look at God.
Just look at God.
So I get it changed. So then I drive off, and then every time I would stop, the car would shut off. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I go back. I was like, hey man, the car's shutting off. He's like, well, let me put it on a little meter again just to make sure, He's like, alternator's good. Battery's even good. He was like, I didn't tighten up the terminal tight enough. So I'm like, all right, tighten it back up, no problem. So I was just like, I'm just sitting there looking like,
you do your job.
Damn. I'm like, what, while I'm here, buddy, I need a new brake light. Because I do. I've been needing a new brake light for like the past 3 years. I just don't get it changed because nobody cares, I guess. I don't know. Please don't be caring.
I care. Because if I can't see them, I'm right into you. So
you can see the brakes, damn it.
I was about to say, that's what you have depth perception for.
Exactly. Right. Don't drive too close to me. But I went ahead and got some brake lights and all that. So I was like, yeah, man. So, when it comes to cars and stuff like that, man, I feel your pain, G.
Yeah.
That's why I say stuff like, you know what? Look at God. Because I really do believe, like, God he be giving you some layups, man.
Mm-hmm.
So all I need God to do right now is, hey, I need an extra $2,000.
That's not how it works.
All right.
That's not
Well,
how it works.
since we put in orders, you can give me a cool 50 stacks. What's up?
That's not how it works.
It was expensive.
Bro.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Look, we was looking at jobs yesterday, right? And we were looking at all these IT jobs because that's pretty much the field I'm gonna end up going into, right? Because I'm getting tired of TSA. This man right here already has certifications for that.
Already.
Yes, starting off, even with all his certs, he could be making 55, 56 grand. Mm-hmm. I'm like, bro, why are you still here? He's like, I want to work on cars. So I'm like, I'm not mad at that. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. But I'm like, bro,
IT is boring, man.
It is boring.
It's like,
but it's safe.
Man.
Because there's always a job. Yeah, there's always a job.
56, it's not bad, but it could be better.
Yeah. It could be. Well, that's just starting off, though. That's just starting
capped out at like 155,000.
No, that's
exactly.
funny.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and this is the thing, though. They train you. Mm-hmm. So any new things happen, you get trained for that. Mm-hmm. So it's always job security. Yeah. So you have nothing to worry about. As long as you do your job, and like you said, it's boring. It's boring because there's really nothing that's going on. So when something goes on, it's like, all right, you don't even have to be there half of the time.
You don't.
You could be at home.
My friend got it. She got it.
I would try it out and see how you feel when that first check comes.
Yeah, I bet you'd be with it.
I mean, you'll be with it to school for that shit. It was like, over time, it just gets tedious.
It does. Yeah. Guess what?
You can tell though. Like when we talk to IT people on the phone, they be like, did you restart your computer?
Look, so he said it gets tedious. I'm like, guess what? That's what TSA is.
Yeah, but I found.
Is it really tedious though? You come in contact with so many different people.
No.
You see,
it all depends where you work.
Oh.
If you're on a checkpoint, it still is tedious because you're doing the same thing all the time.
Once I started working on
and you're saying the same shit,
you get that instant gratification. Like when your car starts, oh shit!
But it's the crazy part.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like I wanted to be a mechanic. when I was in high school, I wanted to be a mechanic because I wanted to be like my grandfather because he actually was a mechanic at one point in time. Yeah. He ended up being, I can't give you the exact position he was, but he worked at a chemical textile plant in New Jersey called Union Carbide. And he did a lot of stuff on the computers. So he kind of, I'm not saying I thought my grandfather was stupid, but I just figured he just wasn't like computer savvy or anything like that. He knew enough to do his job because, you know, the man made money. You know what I'm saying? To have all like 8 cars in the driveway and living in New Jersey, you had to be making well over $100,000 a year. Had to be with no problems. So yeah,
you see all those like jobs like that, like those factory jobs back then. Anybody who had a job like that made fucking money.
Yes, they made money.
Crazy.
Strong unions.
Yeah, that's why my grandmother's still rocking right now. His pension is keeping everything afloat. So,
wherever having those jobs. Oh yeah, they got shit to China.
Yeah, India.
So,
hello. Union Carbide.
No, this is serious radio.
Damn.
It's always them.
Yeah.
I had one of the motherfuckers call me today tomorrow. Hello, this is David with Microsoft. I was like, I don't have a Microsoft. Look, I don't have a Microsoft. I'm laughing because I do, but I thought please don't call me again.
I'm telling you this,
just don't call me.
So when I used to work for OnStar, people used to call me in because their Sirius radio was acting up, and they'd be like, "Please, don't hang up the phone. I don't want to talk to those Indian people." It's like they don't know anything.
That's hard.
It is, but it's funny because it's like they never. Every time they call, because they will call us for the serious radio things. It's, can you do anything about it? Can I speak to an American larceny, please?
Say what? Larceny? Oh yes, of course.
Oh yes.
They just wanted to speak to somebody American because serious radio they outsource that stuff.
Yeah.
To like India.
It is there. The language barrier, I think, is like a huge. Because even at my job, we have an office in Pune, India, and very good. Like the people that have the job, like I have no doubt that they know, like they know their shit. Like these, like they have their degrees in statistics and mathematics and stuff like that. But it's like when communicating, it's a delay. I wouldn't say a block, but there's a delay in communicating.
See, the issue wasn't even the communication. I would say anytime I've had people that were in India and they've spoken well enough, and their service was great. You know what I'm saying? But it was the service that was bad. They didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Oh no, we ain't got it.
So it's like, it was horrible.
You know what I'm saying? I know they be serious over there though, cause like with theirs they can't work from home. They should gotta be in the office. They have set times that they can go to lunch, and they can not have their phone with them by the computer whatsoever.
And they got all kinds of like
shit.
They got all kinds of scammers over there and shit.
They do.
And you know what? Those guys be legit with the call centers and the scammer call
Bro.
centers. Yo, they be set up computer here, computer there.
A friend of mine recorded hers on live, and the dude was like, "Listen, if you just send me $2,000, you can call your government, tell them you got scammed, and you can get your money back plus another $2,000." And she was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can give you the number to call." And she was like, "So why should I give you the $2,000 and I could just tell them that I got scammed?" Like, that don't make no sense. So then he goes, "Okay, well, can you give me the number of somebody else who could maybe give me $15,000?" And I was like, "Yo, this nigga's
He hustling. He's like, man, I'm tired of this."
She was like, "Are you really asking me to scam my government because you want to scam me?" And he was like, "No one gets hurt." And she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now."
That shit is hilarious.
I love those type of calls.
But you know what's funny though? You know what's funny?
That shit was
2,000 is gonna feed them for a long fucking time.
Oh, just one time a month. Somebody does that one time.
And somebody gonna do
only
it.
time
Some elderly person is gonna answer the phone.
What's that currency? Rupees?
Yeah.
Yeah, rupees. Yeah.
And I remember
I had one call me telling me I owed some my social security number came up in a police thing, and I owed extra money. So I was like, okay, what's the police number? What's the case number? Run me the case number.
That same shit called me today.
They was like,
he was like, your social security number is not right.
I was like, what's the case number? Oh, there isn't a case number.
That's
okay. Hi. Now what's up?
I had somebody hit me up. Was like, You owe the IRS this amount
Yeah.
of money. You got them this amount of money.
What's the phone number y'all getting? What?
I
It's
don't know.
just random
It says
locations.
It's like- Yeah, it's like
I said
random.
Pennsylvania today.
Bruh, these motherfuckers called me from New York like 8 times. I'm like, bro,
But
don't nobody from New York.
Very common.
The reason why I probably said Pennsylvania is because if they're using like a VPN,
Yeah.
they can route it through.
Oh, okay.
Another,
I know a friend
IP.
of mine. He's like he grew up in Jamaica. They came over when he was like 10, and they go back and forth and shit.
Mm.
But like he got a scam call
Yeah,
from
right.
Jamaica, and so he saw like the
All
area,
kinds of
the
scams.
zip code or area code or whatever, and he was like, "Hello," like he thinking his family or whatever. So they talking. He was like, "Hey, listen, I ain't got nothing for you, dog. We from the same hood. Like, like you not about to get me, dog. Like you not." Like,
I always get scams from Florida too. Like
oh yeah.
Florida always called me to scam me. Like,
But Florida,
they
is
just
what, I feel like
started
that would be
calling
scam capital
right.
because of
Yeah.
all of the people that retire there.
Guess
like,
what?
It's
yeah, it's always in
Elderly
Jacksonville.
people.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's never in Miami. It's never in Fort Lauderdale. Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they
Yeah,
scamming
seriously,
like
yeah, 'cause
crazy.
Miami, and they like, bro, we ain't scamming. We sell coke.
Yeah, it's so
We sell drugs. Like we don't need to
sell
scam. We sell
Jacksonville?
drugs.
We don't scam, we sell drugs.
But the crazy part is they do have a lot of scammers in
Yeah.
Miami though.
They do.
Like there's a lot of scammers.
I mean, you know,
they're more
James, the
credit
city
card,
girls, they talk
yeah.
about that. And
They're
those
more-
twins, they just got arrested for
Yeah.
credit card fraud.
Yeah, they do a lot of credit card fraud.
Yeah.
down there, so
They also
that's
use-
real big.
Stolen credit cards to get their surgery done before they went to jail. But you know, it's cool. Whatever.
And once it's done, it's done.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, what they gonna do? Get their old face back? Like, you know?
Pretty much.
Sorry.
It's a good way to use their money, though.
We fucked up. They be like, oh, well, you got us for the, surgery. Hey, what's that over there? Bap, 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 bap. Time served. Damn, now that new face
That
you
would
got
be
is
good.
fucked up.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
or they
saw-
slice you in
Yeah,
the face
I'll
real quick.
post
I used to watch
Yeah,
YouTube
post
videos
that.
on dudes scamming the scammers. It was crazy. So like, it was one of those
Is
computer
that scamception?
I guess.
Ooh, I like it.
Scamception.
So what they used to do is like, it was the Windows one where you be on your computer or whatever, and it's like, oh, you have a virus on your computer.
Why you have to make the voice?
Because you have to. It doesn't sound normal without the voice because it's always them. But so he put it on a virtual machine.
Hey, if you're Indian and you're offended, please come see us. Sit with us. Be a guest.
He put
Share
it on
with
a
your friends.
virtual machine, and what a virtual machine is like it's like Windows inside of Windows, some shit like that. So the guy was taking control over it, and he was like, oh yeah, he literally named a folder, all bank information, just so he would go in there and look at it.
Ignorance.
And then he ended up somehow getting into the scammer's computer and started going through their accounts and stuff and started resending people back their money.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, yo, hopefully they got the money back, but
That's cool.
Not for the people that not for their old dude's family, but one thing at a time.
So,
I just want to say, even though I probably wasn't gonna vote for her, I'm really sad to see my girl Kamala Harris leave the race.
I'm glad you said
for
even though I was going to vote for her.
I probably wasn't. I personally, when I saw her in the debate, I didn't hear enough of. It was more so her jabbing at Biden and less of her giving me her plan. So I mean, I'm not gonna vote for you because you fucking hate white people. Like for any misuse of funds, there was just a lack thereof. Is what happened.
She ran out of money, yo.
She did. Which led me into researching how much money it actually costs to do a presidential campaign because I was like, how the fuck? do you
Probably
Cost
got
some bread.
more expensive
Billions.
over the years. You know
Billions.
what I'm saying?
Like
Yeah,
last year was the most expensive year, and it was like 5.7 billion. But this year is looking, they're projecting that it'll reach about 7 billion, and that's
You know why though?
Total.
total. Yeah,
Okay.
for the entire presidential campaign,
Everybody combined.
billions. And just to put it into perspective, like the Congression, like the Senate, the House, all of that, theirs is usually like barely hitting the $1 billion mark, like barely, and theirs hasn't really increased as much as the presidential. But that was crazy to me to see that.
And it's funny, like, I mean, she was bashing white people, I guess.
No, she wasn't. So, and this is my issue with the people of African descent that were in the race. Everything was about getting back at the good old boy system, for lack of a better term. Everything was about striking back at what they grew up through, doing Jim Crow or segregation or Biden, when they had the, what's it called, super predator crime laws and the 3 strikes and all of that, like everything was about getting back at them for all of that. And it's like, I understand like those things need to be corrected, but there's also other shit that needs to happen. And that, to me, that doesn't get, it may get some black votes, but it doesn't get my black vote.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? Like, you forget that, you need funds for this, and most of the funds are going to come from people of that criteria, you know what I'm saying? So you almost have to kind of like be a devil's advocate while you're doing it. Yeah, maybe that's your real objective, but you can't just like cast out that side of people to get funding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you talking bad about them, they're going to crush you. They're going to be like, block all their funding.
I feel like I saw a lot of the candidates, like, it was like, but maybe it's because, like, this is probably, the first presidential campaign I've seen where I wasn't in college, so I could give it, like, more attention.
Yeah.
And I just saw a lot of pandering to non-white communities. Like, when you had...
From who was that?
From more so from non-white candidates. Like when I saw Beto, when I saw him speaking in Spanish, and what's my man Booker, when they were speaking in Spanish on some of the debates, it's like it's really bad. Like you can tell that they only learned those lines and it didn't even flow.
Like the first year Spanish in high school.
Worse, because I was more fluent after first year Spanish in high
Corey
school.
Booker was like,
it was fucking horrible. Like, and even Corey, everything. I've never heard Corey start an argument or at least throw it in there that he grew up in the black and brown community and he is still a part of the black nigga. We get it, we got it. You live in the hood. What's up? Like, what else you got?
He's from Newark,
and that's fine. I understand that.
Newark adjacent.
He's like, but I'm just saying, like, sir, like you said that you've already established that. Let's move forward. What else do you have? Like,
and this is the Democratic side, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I fall in the middle, because like that's what it always seems like. They always trying to pander to like, oh, we know you know your struggle,
but some of the candidates, and I guess it's more so just how my mind works. I don't really when I see them play on emotions or trying to understand our plight or our pain, that doesn't really speak to me.
Yeah, it doesn't speak to me.
I need to. What's your plan? Like, if your plan doesn't make sense, I don't. Because even I think it was like maybe Bernie. They asked him a question about. Maybe it was how. It was either how he was going to do universal health care or how he was going to make school free, secondary education free. And he was like, oh, I don't need a plan yet. And I'm like, yo, dog, you've been talking about this for 30 fucking years. Yeah. You should have a plan off top. What are you saying you don't need a plan? You should have been had a plan.
That's horrible.
I think Bernie Sanders is
Trump about to win, bro. That's all it is. Trump about to win, bro.
Sanders like Trump is like going through like some sort of early dementia.
I believe it. It looks like it.
Seriously,
he looks very frail.
I mean, I always tell people like just like odds. I'm a registered independent. The Democratic Party has anything for people.
Yeah.
At least black
people in general.
So
they just like to hear. They just like to hear from us.
Yeah, like hear from you, get your votes, and then forget you, right? And then Kamala Harris came to the airport 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, she did.
Oh shit! Did you grill her?
No, she was a little bit rude though.
Oh shit! I know.
Damn, Joe.
I was gonna talk to her. I was in a mag. She came through. What? I was in a mag, right? So
let me stop you real quick, sister.
I was like, do a good job. She fucked up on that Breakfast Club interview. The interview in the Breakfast Club, she did. Fucked her up right away.
Bad.
Not to mention in the beginning when she started out, like that first debate that she did, she was vehemently against a lot of shit that Biden had to say. Like everything Biden said, it was no, I disagree, blah blah blah, XYZ, yada yada yada. Later on down the road, a lot of what she wanted to do lined up with exactly what the fuck Biden was saying. Like I'm like, yo, you made your whole campaign out of making this man a villain, and now
you copied off.
We just don't bypass that y'all got the same views, or how that's supposed to work.
She's like somebody where you come to a school and you see the tough kid. And you just want to punch the tough kid.
To show that you the tough kid. You're dominant.
Like you go to jail. Like she just did that to Biden really the whole time, and she didn't really have a plan.
Yeah.
She looked wasted. She looked really like done. Like when she came through the checkpoint, she looked done. Like from that point, I was like, she looked like she lost somebody.
I mean, they had. I know because they moved their headquarters from Baltimore to DC. No, yeah, from Baltimore to DC, and they had to like. abruptly get rid of a lot of people that were working on the campaign. So they were talking about that, and she like it was like the only place that she was really able to raise funds was Iowa, oddly enough. And so she was really depending on that or whatever. But even the person, one of her higher ups, they were like, it's not an issue with her. It was more so an issue with her campaign manager and how the funds were managed, and there just weren't enough. But it wasn't necessarily an issue with her. So
she need old buddy from the movie, The Campaign, Will Ferrell and that kind of
ignorant.
You're like, you get my son to call you dad, I fuck your wife. Like,
all right.
But her,
that shit was hilarious.
Her record as a person, as a prosecutor in California.
I thought you said prostitute for a second.
No, not prostitute. Her record as a prosecutor in California, San Francisco, particularly in the Bay Area,
put a lot of black men in jail.
And then
which is a part of why she criticized Biden.
Yeah,
but you did the same thing though.
She was infamous, and then she had a lot of problems. I mean, just like, you know, if not for her record, who she was married to wouldn't have been as important to people. But the fact that she imprisoned so many black males and then has a white husband was a problem for her, even though people might not want to admit that, but it could have kept her down. Like if Obama.
Yeah, I think that is.
Someone agree.
I never really cared about this, but I'm not a black male, so.
You said what?
No, I'm just saying. I think
we agree.
I think like some black people, like not even black males, like some.
Well, there was even an issue with whether or not she was considered black in the first place.
Ain't she?
Well, her mother's Indian. Her father's Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she didn't. That's why the whole thing on the Breakfast Club was so bad, because you're in college, and we know when you're in college, and you can't forget what you listened to in college. I know what my soundtrack was in college.
I know mine. Freshman year, I said, "Hey, ladies."
Yeah, you can't say I listened to Biggie and Tupac and
that's just generic.
Biggie and Snoop, and you went to school in the early '80s. You know
I was about to say, first of all, that's impossible, because she was talking about how the bus laws fucked her up in the 70s in elementary school. So,
yeah.
So you're not connected.
She ain't real.
She had a few problems, but it just didn't get out.
I don't believe you. Need more people.
Like if Trump, like if Obama had, imagine if Obama had a white wife, I don't think he would have gotten.
I don't think he would have gotten.
He would not
nearly as much support from the black community. Sure. I know he wouldn't have gotten. And he's mixed race.
Like, it wouldn't
he's mixed race.
He would have been a senator. But
like,
I don't think he would ever
is his mom or his dad?
His mom.
White. His mom is white. Okay. Yeah.
She's like
white.
Yeah. But his dad is like African.
Yeah. Extremely white, extremely black.
I keep telling
his dad is, hello, I am Barack Obama.
Oh God.
I'm his father.
Yo, he got definitely
Kenyan,
that
right?
black traits were
Well, someone said that actually it's like a little bit of Star Wars type thing. Like that's actually Malcolm X's son. That's what people said.
Who's Malcolm X's son?
Bro, we don't know that.
Oh, you mean he was like as
no,
far as
think
Star
about
Wars?
it.
You
Think
mean he
about
was
it.
generated by the Force type shit?
Like the dark side of the Force, but that's really my father. But like
by any means necessary, nigga. I'm your father.
I mean, it's a lot more likely to me. I mean, he looks more like that than the father.
You're right. You're right. You actually really.
Personally,
then he's mixed, so it's kind of like they can be.
I mean, if I pick, you saw his father. Right? If I had to pick his father and look at his, put like this. It's a little anecdotal, right? It might sound crazy, but look, on your own time.
Lay it on.
Look at his daughters, and then look at.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about, and I don't see the. They don't look alike to me.
Look at his daughters, and look at Malcolm X's daughters, right? And then go back to that.
Are you really about to look that shit up?
Yeah.
All four of his daughters.
That's what I was trying to think about in my head. Like I can see Sasha Malia, and I know I've recently seen at least one of his daughters, because she frequently does the trip to Ghana.
Yeah, all four, just like their length and their stature, and then his height, like somebody did a whole video on this, like basically talking about this. It's interesting. Like they compared his baby pictures and everything like that. The fact that he lived in Queens when Malcolm X is like his mother lived in Queens, and the fact that nobody from his family, from his father's side, nobody's really alive to really be a part of to really be questioned on this. Like the mother died, the father died. Like
He got a lot of daughters.
There's nobody around. So.
He only had daughters.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's a little anecdotal.
I know, right?
I mean, you know, they was fucking.
You said what?
In Obama.
6.
And one of them passed.
No, I'm saying the look of it. Like they compared Obama,
I can see
Obama as a baby and Malcolm
Damn, one of his daughters got arrested.
Yeah.
Who?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X's daughter.
Of course. They wild.
What do you mean?
Damn,
Of course.
wow.
Wild? What?
They on the
Whoa.
wild side.
What you mean?
side,
What you mean by the
as
wild
far as-
side? What you
Arrested
saying?
for what?
What you saying,
That's what,
Osmond?
Malcolm X is wild.
He's
Like,
not
He was not
wild.
wild.
How
He
was
was not.
he wild? He
What is-
followed the law.
I love Malcolm X, bro.
He followed the
Wow.
law.
How
Go back.
wild?
How was
Son,
he wild?
son, go back and watch
How
that
was he
damn-
wild?
go back and watch that
How was he
damn
wild? That's my
Adamant.
dog. How was he
He
wild?
was adamant.
He was
That's
adamant
not
about what
wild.
he
Adamant is not
believed,
wild.
but that's not
Wait.
wild.
So
You know, I know.
Wait, wait, wait,
Okay,
wait,
I
wait,
can
wait,
agree
wait.
that he
Y'all
lived
gotta-
a wild
y'all gotta-
life prior to.
Y'all gotta remember, Oz
to
young as
jail.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yo, Oz young as fuck. He
He
don't
lived,
know
he lived a wild life prior to going to jail. I can agree with
Yeah.
that. But after that,
He was chill.
most of his life, he did not live that life.
You wild, bro.
So
He was a man of
so
great
no
discipline
pork,
and
no
conviction.
drugs, but he's wild because he has.
No, I'm not saying he wild like off the rocker that type shit.
Bruh,
I'm
he
saying
was
he was
just-
a wild boy. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
Malcolm
bruh.
X is a wild
As a-
boy.
as
I'm sorry.
boy.
When I hear
Yeah,
that's
wow,
what I'm
I
saying.
think
Boy.
I got
No,
a
like,
bad
he ain't on no
conversation.
crazy shit. I know that.
Nah,
I'm just
bro.
saying.
Okay.
Nah, bro. I can't let you do that.
Then you
I'm
know
just,
his
you
kid's about to
know.
be just as adamant as him. Like, very.
Nah, bro. Let me see what daughter got locked up.
I mean, they're strong.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
They got
strong-willed,
strong
strong-minded.
That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying.
But you know, their mom ain't no pushover either.
Shout out to Betty
R.I.P.
Sebastian.
That's
You
the-
could be a
Betty.
pushover with Malcolm
Listen,
X.
that's my
Malika
dog.
Shabazz and her 19-year-old daughter were arrested
For
Wednesday night in a Walmart parking lot.
For
Yeah,
Doesn't say
So-
before though. That's the crazy part.
they try.
And this happened in 2017.
that's crazy.
I don't know what she got arrested for. How old is she?
Anywho.
But,
She got 5 years.
She
Damn.
did 5 years.
Yo, she did some serious.
It's like having a Walmart parking lot that
She
resulted
right.
in 5
Right.
years.
In a parking lot?
In a Walmart parking lot that resulted in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right, I'm about to tell you now.
That's a
It's
lot.
5 years for
Oh,
What?
probation.
What? 5 years probation? Oh, for swindle of elderly.
For what?
She was.
Okay, this is something
Go
different
back
too.
to our scam.
That's really his daughter.
Yeah, they said she was
scamming.
sentenced to 5-year probation for swindling an elderly widow out of $55,000.
Yo,
by
Damn.
running up charges on
She
her
was
credit
out here
card.
scamming.
55 grand?
Out here scamming.
That's a lot.
Scam life.
That's crazy.
Shish.
Oh, it was
That's
on
money, money.
99.3.
Man, I could pay my student
Look,
loans,
kids.
dog.
All
Yep. And I can have
of
some
them.
left
Speaking of
over.
revolutionaries, shout out to Fred Hampton.
Getting a movie.
Fred Hampton.
Are they gonna? Somebody's getting a movie pretty soon, right?
I think
Wait.
so.
Fred Hampton?
Fred Hampton.
No, I'm talking about like somebody's making a biopic of somebody. I just thought of something. I think Lakeith Stanford. What is Stanfield? I think he's supposed to be in it too. It might be about Huey.
About who?
I don't know. Let me see.
But yeah, so 50 years ago, Fred Hampton was murdered by Chicago police and FBI.
Wait, is it Hampton or Hamilton? I thought it was like the same as
Fred
Hampton.
Hampton. Fred Hampton. And his
From the Black Panthers.
for the Black Panthers.
Yes.
Fred Hampton. Yeah. So he was sleeping middle of the night.
Yeah.
50 years ago, December 4th.
shots.
December 4th,
Four bullets in him. There's way more shots.
next to his wife, pregnant wife. And,
Yeah. Very pregnant wife.
And apparently, an informant showed them the layout, and they just shot into the apartment. I think they unleashed about 80 rounds, something like that.
And they even tried to lie and say that whoever was guarding the door shot first, but they did an analysis of all the bullets, and literally all the bullets in the house came from police guns.
One direction. So, and Fred Hampton Jr. was born that day, and he apparently, survived. He's now 50. So
That's
shout out
love.
to Fred Hampton and his he would only be 71 today. That's how young he was when he died. He was
Yeah.
71.
Damn.
If he were alive today.
I just want to point out that they assassinated him right around the time he was trying to unite whites and blacks together. Those
Yeah,
on
anytime.
a low socioeconomic level.
Very dangerous.
It's like anytime
Yes.
somebody tries to unite anything.
Well, it's actually in FBI records. They were like, we got to get rid of him because we can't have a quote unquote black messiah.
Yes.
Facts. You can watch that on Netflix special. Like, it's literally in writing.
Disgusting.
All disgusting out here.
Disgusting.
The human race has to have something to hate.
Deplorable.
Listen, the only thing that will get rid of racism is once aliens come here and be like, you gotta hate them fucking aliens.
Actually, yeah. Well, no, actually, no.
Oh my god, wait. Have you guys seen the show The Expanse?
Yeah, I watched it.
You seen it?
I watched it.
Okay, so The Expanse is like, it's supposed to be like a lot of years in the future. A shit ton of years in the future, right? So now we have colonized Mars, and we have sent people to live on that asteroid belt, and they like mine out there or whatever and shit like that.
It's on Prime, right?
Yeah, we've used Earth like to the end. Like, Earth is shit now; it's complete shit. Yeah. But in there, it's not about race, but they still find a way to separate themselves because it's about where you are in the fucking in space. So you have your inners; those are people that live in Mars, Earth, all of that. You have your belt people, and then you have your outers. The belts and the outers usually stay together, but then Mars and Earth are also against each other, but they don't recognize race. It's just wherever you're from, that's what sets you up, basically. And it's like,
look, if you go to Africa, there's tribes that hate each other. It never will stop.
Well, that's always a different conversation.
No, I know, but
it's like okay, separated from the idea that you look at the Irishman, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of killing in that movie. A lot of people who killed each other because somebody was getting ahead of them in say union elections. They were killing them. They weren't just beating them in elections. They were actually killing the opposition. So yes, human beings are gonna fight wars. Some of the biggest wars were fought, say World War II. Those were white nations fighting white nations. The human race will find a way.
It's like,
but then
we'll never be civilized. You always gotta find something to hate.
Well, in our recent past, but there have been civilizations that have lasted for thousands of years. You're right. Thousands of years without this type
of that's why I say the only thing that's really gonna truly stop all this shit is once something else. Like, either it's gonna be robots or aliens.
You gotta not be bored.
You're not gonna lie.
All it hate at that shit.
I mean,
when kids are bored, what they do? Break shit. We bored.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like you can have a nice community of people, but you're gonna eventually get one bad apple.
Fuck.
Matter.
What kind of destructive ass kids y'all talking about?
Like, that's exactly Hitler. Germany was fine, and Hitler came up and was like, I don't like.
Well, Germany actually wasn't fine. When Hitler came about, Germany was like, they had just lost. They was looking for a savior, and Hitler was like, I got the answer. What's up?
Fuck the Jews. That's all I'm saying.
No, not just the Jews. Anybody that wasn't Jewish.
I'm pretty sure the Germans were not focusing on the Jews until he came around. They were like,
that's what we're told, but the Jewish, but Hitler was indeed Jewish. So even in that refrain, it wasn't just pictures pro like this. He wasn't just somebody who just said we hate Jews and that's all he was talking about. He was talking about far more than that.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mein Kampf.
Like for example, the Nazi Party, right? You have the Ashkenazi Jews and the Sephardic Jews. So the Ashkenazi Jews are from where? The Nazi Party comes from the term Ashkenazi, which is the white Jew. Then you have Sephardic Jews from Greek and Ethiopia and Eritrea. So you're not talking about just Jews. We talk again about a racist ideology because he's not. It's not like he was the white, blonde hair, blue eyed.
Yeah, he wasn't that at all. He was repping that. Yo, if you ain't blonde hair, blue eyed, you about to get fucked up. But it's like,
so they say.
You got black hair and a fucking black mustache. How you?
Mein Kampf.
So they say. So I mean, it's a lot to that story. It's not that story. I mean, when Jesse Owens went there,
it's the most contradictory.
Jesse Owens went there and he compared how blacks were treated here as opposed to how they were treated there. He said, "Look, we're treated like kings here." When he wore Adidas sneakers in Germany, because Adidas is a German Nazi brand. Adidas.
So is Fanta.
Adolf Daimler's, right? So
damn, bro.
So when he
not the Adolf Daimler's.
That's what Adidas comes from.
I mean,
ID was a nickname,
and then
Dacia.
Nazi Germany also created Fanta.
Oh
Got a
no.
little Fanta.
Not too far.
Fanta, yes.
Yeah,
Fanta.
they created the orange drink.
That's
I was
good.
reading. I was like,
That shit
Oh,
busted,
shit.
dog.
That's good.
oh yeah,
That's good.
That shit
Yeah.
busted, like,
Oh,
fuck,
yeah.
that shit
Yeah.
busted, like.
that is good.
Fanta with some rum.
I'm never not gonna drink Fanta. Let's be clear.
Sipping on that Nazi hating drink.
Like Fanta, yummy.
Just being honest, that shit busted. So
If we did without everything from Nazis, we'll be in trouble. I like
I'm
Trader
sorry,
Joe's.
and it's hard to say.
I like Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Nazis
Another
created,
Nazi.
Jones is the shit.
Nazis created a lot of shit.
Whoa! Before I even go any further,
They created a lot of shit.
the Unfamous
Would have
Podcast
been.
is not
you ever heard
endorsing
of-
Nazi.
We're not.
No,
But
not
we
at all,
just
not
know
at
that
all, not at
they
all.
were smart as shit. I ain't gonna deny that shit. They created U-boats, the submarine.
I mean, okay.
Created a
First of
lot of
all, let's be
shit.
clear. First of all, let's be clear.
The
They
US
did a
is
lot of.
Nazis, so
They
go ahead.
created a lot of shit, right? Even like medically, like there was a lot of. It sucks, right? It sucks that a lot of these experiments happen on people.
Yeah.
It's very fucking sucky.
Yeah.
However,
There's a however. Go ahead.
there is a however.
But
However, I've never seen any medical breakthrough without some type of experiment, and that is including not just what the Nazis did with them, but also what was done to Black African Americans when they were brought over and the shit that they did. Like the first successful hysterectomy was performed on a Black woman, and he had 3 other Black slaves that he was practicing
And you know
on
what's funny?
prior to that when he fucking got it.
The only way you're gonna get these fucking breakthroughs if you actually take a risk like that. There's no way.
So,
it
sucks.
It's hard.
And then
it
people
sucks.
should have a
Who's taking the
choice.
risk?
People should have a choice.
Exactly.
Doctor?
It's
No,
not
not the
really a
doctor.
risk.
It's not the doctor.
Exactly.
It's not the doctor. By the
Yeah.
way, that particular doctor tried it with white women as
Oh, shit.
well.
What's up,
but,
Torn?
they died. They didn't survive the surgery. Only Black women survived. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Without anesthesia.
Without anesthesia, but they did get that good opium afterwards.
I'm just saying, like,
Oh, the
yo,
opium back then.
Yeah, they got that good opium.
Have you
Real
guys
shit.
seen the Nick to that point? You saw the Nick the show on Showtime.
no.
What is it?
The Nick. Like,
Nick?
It's like the Knickerbockers basketball team, but it's the Nick. Like,
No.
yo, if you ever get a chance, if you have Showtime, right? I guess.
No, I do
So you
not
have
have
show-
it. No, they gave me a free.
Oh, free.
preview. Yeah.
It's on.
I'll
It's
find
on
it
the Fire
stick.
Stick. It's on the Fire Stick. But the Nick is about.
The Nick?
It's about the Knickerbocker Hospital. The
The
Nick.
Knickerbocker?
Yeah, it's in New York, right? So
Yeah.
New York Knicks.
turn of the 20th century, New York. And
What
it's
is it?
about. Yeah, it's about all the things that happened.
The 20s, basically.
The 1900s,
Like 1910.
1910, 1901,
Okay.
1899, whatever.
Yeah.
So this hospital, and all that you're talking about, they said the early cesarean sections, and they would be like having them on the table. We're gonna get the baby out before you bleed to death, and they'll be rushing, and the person will down and take like it's really graphic, right? So all these early breakthroughs, and they have different doctors, like different races there, and it's interesting to see that dynamic history.
And it's like I'm just looking at, especially medical now.
Yeah.
And you know how they develop like CRISPR and all those gene editing shit.
Mhm.
And you know how we're not doing it here because it's inhumane. But like China's like, hey, I don't give a fuck. Like, China's
Technically,
like,
they're
let's
not
try it.
supposed to be doing it either.
They're not,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you know, China don't give a fuck.
Not
Like,
two fucks.
Is the UN ever gonna get like involved in something like that then?
Well, no, I mean,
What?
so here's the thing.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like
The
Hold on.
UN.
Oh, the UN.
No,
you
I
said
mean-
you thought you said
For
you,
China? No.
I mean UN.
or do you
is-
mean like like using
They was-
those thing?
Listen,
those-
Yeah,
China
that's
was
what
talking
they
about
were.
making
That's inhumane.
superior humans. They were
Mhm.
talking about all that shit. I was
Yeah, like the
here's the
UN
funny
would
thing.
have to get involved eventually. Right?
Once China does
Absolutely
it,
not.
once China does it and
Okay.
perfects it, we would be like right behind them, like, oh, let's copy that.
Oh, trust me, we're not right behind them. We're doing it too. It's just not. It's just not
Oh,
out of.
how about
You
you
got
on the
enough
street,
money.
How about this? How about
You
this?
can make anything happen.
How about this?
Yes.
Deontay Wilder is out here with zero fucking boxing skills, knocking the fuck out of everybody.
He was married with the CRISPR.
Hold
Yes.
on. What's connection?
Bro.
He was married with one of those things.
Bro, that motherfucker is a freak.
To this day.
To this day. Bro, there's no way, yo. How are you getting beat up by Ortiz for, I don't know, like 6 or 7 rounds?
Knocked him
The
out.
fucked up. And
He laid that man the fuck down.
Bop.
He laid him down.
He looked really hurt.
He laid him down.
His whole in the
Look, that motherfucker,
inside.
that motherfucker something like.
But he was, and he had just pulled ahead. Like with the points, he had just pulled ahead. I was like, yum.
Like Deontay Wilder was gonna lose that fight.
Yeah, he was gonna lose, dog.
Yeah, if it went to the decision, he was gonna lose.
But yeah, he has heart though. He you know
bro, that's not heart.
Who has?
That's not heart.
No, he didn't have to give him a shot.
That's not called heart. That's called genetic splicing. That motherfucker is
a genetic splicing.
Bro, look how big he's not even a big dude. The guys he's fighting are they're bigger than him. Deontay Wilder walks around like, I'm bigger than Deontay Wilder.
But he's like 6'5".
That don't mean nothing. He walks around at 204 or 210. These dudes he's fighting are like 250.
But see, some
I don't care.
He's thinking moving.
It doesn't matter. Bro, he's not even technically sound. So there's no sweet science when it comes to him. He just takes a couple of punches and then just, and that's it.
That punch is expertly thrown. He knows how to throw that.
Ain't no expert. He just throws it. That's what I'm trying to say.
That shit is great.
Bro.
He can't box that well.
He can't box at all. That motherfucker. It's like he just knocks motherfuckers out. Bro, that is
That's why I like to watch boxing.
Yo, he is a superhuman. There's no way in hell that he can do that.
That was a crazy segue.
Why not?
Bro, I don't care how black he is and how down he is. Bro, nah, bro. You was born somewhere. There was some type of genetic. No, being serious. I'm being serious. Bro, I'm being serious right now. Like, there's no way in hell. This man is skinny. He's not even big. He is a small.
He's muscular.
No, he's ripped. That's
yes,
not.
But he doesn't have any weight behind him.
But that's what I'm trying to say. If you're a heavyweight, that doesn't fare well for you as a heavyweight. All heavyweight champions were always bulky and big or fat. He is a skinny man. He's built like a fucking swimmer. And he is taking punishment.
He has strong shoulders.
No, he's taking punishment and he's knocking people out with one punch. Bro, I'm not saying he's on steroids and nothing like that. I'm just saying like that is human fucking. It's no way in hell. That is like the cream of the fucking crop. If we were back in slavery times,
oh, he would definitely be a buck.
He would be breeding like a motherfucker.
He would be dead. He probably would die first.
Oh no! They're gonna get some super bucks out of him. They're gonna get some super kids out of him because they gotta go ahead and get
super kids.
No, I'm being serious. They gotta get his genes.
No, he do that. He seems to have a high level of testosterone, which means he probably
they gotta get them genes out of him. So it's like, all right, we're gonna get all this out of you. We're gonna have all your children. They're kids. So we're gonna teach them the slavery way, and then you're dead.
All right, let's not do that.
I'm just saying that's how it would go.
Breeding dogs and shit. Like
basically, that's what it was.
He has a great punch, but Boston has a lot of great punches. Right?
No.
I mean, people are dying.
No, but yeah, because they
Oh, recently?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's 3 in the last year.
Yeah.
Really?
Hell yeah. Somebody just died like a couple months ago.
Couldn't walk out the ring like this.
Yeah, he was dead.
They had to get a
stretcher.
A stretcher.
When he
walk the rest of the way down the way.
How about
he tried to leave on his own.
And he died?
He died later.
He
died at that.
When it comes to Deontay Wilder, there are those people who are dying.
Scary.
Now they're not dying because they're getting hit with one punch. They're dying because they're getting hit repeatedly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder is gonna knock you out with one punch.
But he's
not killing nobody.
He's not knocking nobody out in early rounds.
No. That's the thing though. He's waiting. He's just waiting.
But he's still hitting them. My thing is the people are not.
He's hitting them.
What's that Cuban cat that killed that? The dude died later.
I don't know.
The dude was just like.
But that's the thing.
He was like this. Imagine he just like this. The dude was punching him. He's not even caring. He kept punching the whole time. Like
he won the fight and then he died.
And the dude died.
Is that
so he couldn't even block anymore, and they still let him fight.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
The Cuban dude, no, he didn't die. The other guy died. He just kept punching the dude like this.
When it comes
you
to
heard
Deontay
it, like you
Wilder,
heard, poof, Every time he put the dude.
Deontay Wilder is not hitting people with 100% of his power throughout the fight.
No.
See, he knows what his strong points is because he's not technically sound. He's not there, so he's not gonna outbox you. His thing is, I'm just gonna tire you out. He has pretty good head movement. He's not gonna take too many punches. He rolls with the punches. Yeah. He'll tire you out, probably bring you to the 5th, 6th, 7th round, and he's gonna knock you out. Yeah. He ain't gonna knock you out in the first round. We all know that. Because even when he fought Tyson Fury, who beat the fuck out of him? Yes. I don't care what you say.
I want to see that fight then. I agree with you.
It's next. They're gonna fight again. He beat the fuck out. That white boy beat the shit out of him. And you know what happened? Last round, Deontay Wilder hit him. Bang! Tyson Fury hit the floor, got back up like, and won the rest of the fucking round.
That was impressive.
Won the rest of the round.
Oh, so how did he...
It was a draw. It ended up being a draw.
Oh, okay.
Actually, if you want to keep it funky, Tyson Fury won that round. Because Deontay Wilder, he got outboxed.
So you think Tyson Fury won the fight?
Yes, he won that whole fight. He beat him all the rounds until that one. So it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like that one knockdown shouldn't have even made a difference. Like you beat him up the whole fight. So it didn't even matter. They're going to run it back again. I don't see Fury
He's intriguing.
But Deontay Wilder is a super nigga.
Hey, I ain't mad at him, dog.
Yeah,
he's good.
He's good.
You know what I'm saying?
I like Deontay Wilder, though. I really do.
He a wild boy.
I found that he's just in a long line of super Asiatic black men. Period.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
See, Usain Bolt's kids better be able to run fast and shit. That's all.
You got so many people. It's great.
They better be able to run fast.
Okay.
My kids gonna run fast as shit.
You said they not gonna run fast as shit?
Bro, don't. Joe, leave it alone.
They not?
Joe, leave it alone.
I don't know.
Joe!
They will.
They'll be really good
Joe.
at IT.
My kids are gonna run.
Damn, they'll be good at IT.
Joe, you've been gone for like 3 weeks.
My God.
Let Oz just say what he
I gotta get all 3 weeks in.
Not good at IT.
Let Oz just say what he says. We don't know what the fuck he be talking about.
They gonna be good at IT and run.
Alright, man, shut up.
It's possible.
Shit.
They gonna be on the bobsled team.
Jamaican as a bobsled team.
The Virgin Islands.
Yeah. You dead, man. Yeah, man. He like,
yo, I'm about to look at that.
He like, kiss my lucky egg. I'm not kiss no lucky egg.
Yo, I'm about to look that shit up on Disney Plus, yo.
He like, feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Come on out.
It's
about that time. Cool running.
That shit is funny.
And then your boy John Kenny's like, go. Yes, Candy.
Yo, that shit made
that
no
was a good
sense.
movie.
I fucking love that movie, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
I love that movie.
Did you see how they actually? There is an actual Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You see how they practice, right?
No.
They do like this soapbox derby type shit in Jamaica. That's how they practice for that shit.
Oh, so it's fairly.
They go down a hill and go really fast.
They have an excursion like that. You can go to the bobsled and have like a ramp. It's not even ice; it's just like wooden tracks.
But bobsleds are more serious. That shit's crazy.
Scary.
You go like 100 miles an hour.
I could see you fuck around and flip over, all your necks is gone. Like who the fuck?
I think people really die from it, but
I mean, listen, it's obviously not naturally a black man's sport.
True.
But I guarantee once we get
why would we do that?
We don't be doing no crazy
shit.
Look, once we get it, we gonna dominate.
Did a good job though.
I'm about to go watch that movie when I get home.
I am too. What's next on the docket? While we got
what was even on the docket? We didn't even
No,
start.
I just want to tell. I just want everyone to, because I've seen a lot of people, and I was guilty of this as well. I've seen a lot of people with a lot of strong opinions about the young T.I. Please at least watch the Red Table Talk.
You know they
just
ain't
watch
gonna
it.
do that.
I feel like
they're not gonna do it.
It will at least give you a more well-rounded, a more influenced or informed opinion. And if you choose to keep your same opinion, that's cool. But I just think the least we could do is watch it.
Okay.
Because
was it worse or was it better?
For me, it explained a lot. For me, it was better. I thought that, first of all, what I love about Red Table Talk in general is they create a space where people can really talk a safe space for people to talk. Like when people come on there, they're fully honest with Jada and Gammy, and I think that's cool. And it's also cool to see the 3 different generations because Gammy, she's real old school, so she don't hold no punches. Like she'd be like, I mean, I just don't know about that because like even when it comes to race relations, she was like, listen, I mean, I be trying, but honestly, I just don't be trying to fool with y'all. So you got her, and then you have Jada, who's like kind of like in the middle, like she's very well rounded. She's trying to understand and communicate and all that.
She's
and then
a voice of reason.
Yes, and then you have Willow, who's very new school, very forward, and very very passionate. So she reminds me she's I don't know, but her mouth reminds me of Jada at 18. Like she's like you, what's up? Like, but not a fighter so much because she didn't grow up like Jada did. But like she spits fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to watch them together. But this particular one, when he was talking about his daughter, or whatever, he made originally. Of course, I guess everyone knows now. He made the comments about going with his daughter on her birthday or the day after her birthday every year to get her hymen checked to make sure that she's still a virgin, and that just like sent everyone into a frenzy. And so
she's 19, by the way.
She's 19.
Yeah.
She actually was not at that show, and T.I. was like, I wish Willow was here so we could all talk, and Jada was like, no, you don't. That's not what you want. Trust me.
Yeah.
So I thought that shit was funny. But the first thing he said coming out the gate, which I absolutely appreciated, was he was like, I want to make it very clear that I'm only here talking about this because she gave me permission to do so. So when he made the comment about what, like her still being a virgin and all of that other shit, he was like, he didn't realize how sensitive and how personal that information was for women.
I would guess shit.
Yeah, like he just wasn't aware. He wasn't aware. So he was like that, and so immediately following that, like they had a family meeting and he apologized to her because he didn't understand that. And so he was like, so what do you want to do like now? And she asked him to just leave it alone. Don't make any comments. Don't say anything. It'll go away. That's what she asked him to do. And so he was like, I just want to make it very clear. I was perfectly fine with taking all of the blowback. I was never going to say anything if that's not what she wanted. He was like, but she gave me the okay to clarify some things. So that is the only reason why I'm here. And I also want to go on record and say, I am sorry. I do apologize to my daughter. I don't owe the rest of y'all nothing, but to my daughter, I apologize. And I was like, okay, I can dig that. I can respect that,
I mean, and that's the risk you have when you put your private life on public display.
Yeah.
So much of the time that what is private?
You don't know what's private.
What is wrong? What is right? I mean, I have daughters. I mean, I don't necessarily. The only time I checked my daughter's hymen was if it was one time where there was a question whether somebody violated one of my daughters or not.
Yeah.
I brought it to the doctor to check that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a yearly thing to make sure you're still good.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing that he addressed. He said he doesn't handle those appointments. He doesn't set those appointments to specifically check her hymen. Her mother sets those appointments for her. It started when she was like 15, I believe he said, and he attends the appointments with her. While there, he does ask, is her hymen still in check? But it's not I'm taking you to the doctor to make sure you're still a virgin, because that's how it came off when I read the comments from the podcast to me too. So he was like, no, that's not the case, but I am there and I do ask those questions or whatever.
See, at least he's being like straightforward about it. He's not.
Yeah. But, and then he also said, he was like, I feel like I'm basically being villainized or attacked for being a good father, for being a protective father. And it's like, in this situation, or even in today's day and age, where do the fathers fit in? Like, what are we supposed to do here? And so I thought that Jada made a good point, and she was like, when it comes to a woman's sexuality and a girl transitioning into a woman, if her mother is in her life, and I'm assuming that her mother is because her mom made those appointments with her, so I just assume.
BTI's wife?
No. This is the daughter that he has with another woman.
Okay.
Somebody else. Okay.
Yeah. She wasn't really on the show. She was like the really quiet one. She wasn't really on the show. She didn't really talk. So she's a very private person. Like you could tell just by looking at the show. She wasn't with it.
So what was Jada's response?
Jada's response was, and she was like, this is a conversation that she had to have with Will as well. Around that time, she was like, let the mother guide and educate the daughter in that aspect, because it's an experience that only another woman could fully understand.
You mean all things sexual?
And experiencing her own sexuality and becoming a woman, we can't speak to another man. We can't speak to how men like approach sex.
Yeah, like
but
if we were
a girl becoming comfortable with her body and learning about her own sexual desires and things of that nature. She feels that it's better for the woman to educate the young girl because that's a walk that a woman has experienced. So he was like,
I wouldn't agree with that.
I do. But he was like, so where does my role fit in? And she was like, your job in that particular role is to love your daughter.
And see, I feel like though the reason why T.I. would even did that is because he separated from her mother anyway. He's just like trying so hard to be a good dad.
Yeah, but I don't know if she does, but I can only speak to what I saw on Family Hustle. He was like, she lived there, like. So it wasn't like he wasn't in her life. Like, no. I mean, from what I saw on Family Hustle, she lived in the house.
Maybe he's just trying to be like, he's just trying too hard. That's a
well,
habit.
I'll put like this. As a father of 3 daughters, my opinion would be that, because I've had these experiences already. So my thing is that if you, inevitably, when you have daughters, sex is going to come up in conversation. You're not going to, as a father, not be involved in that conversation. You're not going to say, well, it's about sex. Your mother will handle that. You're not gonna say that, right? Because you're gonna say, okay, what is it about? Like recently, like say I don't want to go into, like say it's watching stuff on their phone. Say it's about a boy. Say it's I think I like this girl. All the questions my daughters have asked, the 3 of them, different times. I'm gonna tell them what my opinion is, and it's gonna be a good one because who are they having sex with? Right? They're having sex with males for the most part, right? So. From my point of view, I'm gonna approach them from a perspective
like
that a woman will not know.
Yeah.
So and then the mother is gonna approach them from a perspective that I don't know. That's why God made 2 parents. With a male child, the mother is going to formalize them on many things sexually,
and you know what?
And I will as well.
You're truly right because I can say
I
that.
don't think it wasn't Jada. Jada, from what I understood from her, it wasn't the case of her exploring her sexuality with someone else. It was ushering her into her own sexuality as a person by herself, as a woman, ushering her into her own sexuality. And the only reason I feel like that's where Jada was coming from was because that was her background. So she shared in previous episodes that her grandmother was the one who introduced her to sex and self-pleasuring and things of that nature. So she had learned about sex like from with herself from her grandmother prior to actually having, like she said, she was actually a virgin until she was like 17, 18 or something like that. But she had started like masturbation and exploring herself, that kind of thing. Those kind of talks she started with her grandmother earlier on. So that's what I assumed she was talking about when she was talking about talking to her daughter.
I would agree with that. I don't know the family dynamics. I don't know if it was just Nana.
I
don't know if there was a papa, you know, whatever. I don't know if the Nana had a husband. But I'm saying, like, when it comes to matters of sexuality with my daughters, I'm not stepping out of the room for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm always going to be a part of that conversation. Now, there are some things that, like, with female hygiene, having their cycles, that's something you're gonna deal with that. But when it comes to, like, I feel this way, like one of my daughters, like, I feel this way about this person. What are these feelings about? I'm gonna give them my perspective because there's a father's gonna have a lot to do with what their daughters like, what their daughters will permit themselves to be, who they're gonna be with. So for all those reasons, like, I have to be involved in that because and sometimes they're gonna ask me. They're gonna be like, well, their mother. I have 2 daughters from, my first relationship or my previous relationship, and there are things they might ask me that their mother might not necessarily answer them properly about.
Yeah, see, and I can use that because, like, both of my parents heavily contributed, like, the way I feel about, you know, sexuality and stuff like that. Because, like, my mom would talk to me about certain things, and my dad would talk to me about certain things. And it's like, I can see where it would went one-sided if I just listened to one or the other. Because sometimes my mom says something that conflicted with what my dad said. You know what I'm saying? So I had to basically generate my own opinion on how I felt about it. But, you know, it's like, you know, the mother and father dynamic really helps steer you in a certain direction, whatever direction you're going in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't feel that.
I know what you're saying. You're saying, like,
I don't feel that that's what Jada was like,
important.
Don't weigh in. But
I feel like it is important when it comes to, like, as far as, like, masturbation, like, what females do.
Yeah.
That part. That's something moms only, would know a lot.
And I only feel, the only reason, and like I said, I only feel like that's what Jada was talking about because of what she shared, but also in general, like, for women, like, self-exploration is something that's just so taboo in general. Like, so it is important to, well, and I can only speak to America because that's the only place I'm in. That's all I grew up in. Yeah. But it's like, I think it's really cool that Jada had that relationship with, that she had that relationship with her grandmother, and that she also had that relationship with Willow. So when it comes to self-exploration, her mom was on drugs for a long time. So when it comes to self-exploration, she, like, I think that is completely cool. That is something that a mother and a daughter can talk about. But T.I. also weighed in, and he was like, well, I'm trying to tell about these little boys, blah blah blah, XYZ, they ain't shit, that kind of thing or whatever. And he was like, and she was like, that there's no problem with that, blah blah blah, XYZ. And so then Gam, she was asking all the questions that the audience wanted to know. Gam was like, so what would you have done if she wasn't a virgin? Then what? Like, because, Jada asked, are you trying to protect her virginity, or are you trying to protect her from the things that come along with having sex?
Yeah, there's two.
I would say there's definitely or at an early age, the things that could potentially happen or what have you. And so Gan was like, what would you have done if she had sex? And he was like, I would never punish her for it, but we would have to have a conversation. She would have to learn that if you're taking this adult step, then you need to start making adult plans. For example, getting on birth control. You probably need to start figuring out what you're trying to do with your life, because if you get pregnant, you don't have to take care of a child. Like,
you know what's funny?
Exactly. Those are all good things. They make perfect sense.
And I somewhat, and Nikki's gonna be able to understand this, I somewhat got that from the show I was watching called Shameless, because one of the girls had a child, right? And I mean, even though it's extreme, she was her sister, who was basically taking care of, was like, well, either you're gonna abort the baby because we're poor and we can't take care of that baby. And the girl was so adamant to having the baby because she's like, I'm gonna be able to do this and stuff like that. She was very adamant about that. And so she had the baby because she was telling her sister, you can't tell me what I can do with my body and all that kind of stuff. And in the end, it ended up being like, well, she started struggling. And the sister was like, well, I can't help you because when I told you what to do, you didn't want to listen to me. And now I'm having you pay partially the rent. And she's like, well, how am I going to get a job?
You're an adult. You make an adult decision.
I can't tell you what to do with your body.
I can't tell you what to do with your body. You better take that body and find a job.
I'm not saying just have an abortion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that.
But
I'm just saying, but
those are the things that come into play. So I was really glad that Gammy asked that question, because I feel like that shed light on, okay, it's not just him trying to preserve purity. It's him like, okay, this is a real live adult decision, and a lot of things could come from this that you're not ready for. So we got to talk about it. And I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense. And then Gam was like, well, how come you not, like, are you that way with your sons? And if you aren't, why not? And so he was like, that's where they were talking about, like, the double standard. And he was like, I know, like, that's a big thing, but let's be honest. If a teenage girl gets pregnant, at least for those first 9 months, she's pregnant, it's not the boy's household that changes.
Yeah.
It's where the girl lives that changes. Like, and after that, let's hope that he is worth shit. Because if he's not, it's really just on the family with the daughter.
And I think that's exactly
and I was like, that's
always
true.
Has been. I feel like that's where that stigma comes from. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was ever like a taboo for like women to have sex and have children. It was just more so what comes with that. You know what I'm saying?
It's also a nature of sex though. Because you're accepting. Then if you say a woman has five partners in their teenage years, you're accepting a lot of things into your body. You're magnetic. We're electric. So we're not men. Men
leave stuff behind.
Leave stuff behind. You're accepting things into your system. So that's where the double standard comes from. We're not the same sexually. So if I have sons, now do I want them making babies and all?
No. I wouldn't want that.
But I'm more interested in my daughters being as pure as possible for as long as possible. And that's my job as a father. And that's actually the same thing people complain about father not being around, is that female having teenage pregnancy and not feeling loved and being around all kinds of different men. That's the things people talk about when they talk about fathers not being around for daughters, right? So now your father's doing that, there's a complaint.
There's always going to be
So my thing is like,
somebody's
we can't, we're just not the same sexually. You can't have, to me, you just can't have the same experiences at that age. When you know, I just can't.
I don't agree with preserving. I don't agree that the main point it should be preserving purity. I think that the main point should be educating and making sure that that daughter is educated enough and confident enough, because a lot of times women, young girls especially, succumb to these things because they don't feel the confidence to say no. Like having all of those tools to make the proper decisions, I feel like that should be the focus as opposed to preserving purity.
Yeah, because it's like
no. Both are important. I'm saying that when I look at my daughters, like I'm not talking about when they're 19, 20 years old. I'm talking about when they're 11, 12, 13, 14. That's where it starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at. I don't want I don't have my daughters see me without clothes on. I don't want them to watch certain videos when they're younger. I don't want anybody touching them in a way that's inappropriate. That's what I mean by purity, because that's where it starts. If you can't get them through that 10, 11, 12-year-old, 13-year-old stage, you're not gonna. It don't matter what you say to them when they're 17 years old. So my thing is, when I was bringing them up, I'm like, you're not gonna be around anybody that I don't know. You're not gonna be around people that I don't trust. You're not gonna be right. That's what I did, right?
Yeah.
So now when they're 17, 18 years old,
there you go.
Now they're educated, and I'm not checking hymens. And I'm just focused on making sure.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right. But
I'm making sure that they know.
Here's the thing.
Their value.
You know what? And you know what I really. You know what I really think it is, Kia? To really say,
yes.
I don't think it's a stigma or anything that a guy is trying to or male is trying to take control over women. I feel like it's very instinctual. I think it's instinct. That why we react.
That may be a part of it, but I also think that there's a part where guys just want to. Some guys just want to exert control, but that's the issue.
You're right. I think it's partially instinct, partially
deal with.
Partially.
Fuck them niggas.
Yeah.
Control. Okay, so
I can see where it's controlling.
You mean from a father to a daughter?
Say it again.
Control between a father and a daughter.
Are you asking me?
You said there's situations where people want to exert control.
It can be father to daughter. It could be boyfriend to girlfriend. It could be I've heard it in many different instances, and I just don't think that control is the answer.
Yeah. So.
Because I know what I do when somebody tries to control me, and it's not what you asked me to do. That's for sure.
But I mean, my thing is that if you have a 17-year-old daughter, for example, and I want to say, you're not gonna do this.
Mm-hmm. She gonna do it. I'm gonna be honest. You tell her she ain't hey, you ain't gonna do it. She gonna do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, no, okay. In all
I mean-
fairness, because I have a so my group of friends that I grew up with, there's 5 of us, and we are all very different.
Yeah.
And so one of my friends, like, she grew up in a very strict home, and she followed the rules. Like, what they said, she did. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's it. That was cool. We're cool. Another friend also had strict parents.
Yeah.
She found ways to circumvent the rules
Quite
a bit.
Take it from a nigga who's out here fucking them joints. Like
my mom, and then also my friend who got married in San Diego. She was actually a virgin when she got married. But like she grew up in a 2-parent household, all that good stuff or whatever. And our parents kind of took the same approach with us, which was, we're gonna talk to you, we're gonna tell you what not to do. But ultimately, we can't stop you from doing what you want to do. Like, you have to make that choice on your own. It wasn't a lot of, you gonna do what I said you gonna do. It was, this is what I think is best. Yeah. And if you choose not to listen, then you just gotta suffer them consequences.
Exactly. And that's my approach. Like I said.
Which is, I feel like that's a good approach, because you're just being honest. Yeah. You're being very much real about the situation.
Yeah, when my daughters come to me with questions, I've never said, and when my daughter said, "Oh, I felt this way around this girl, I felt this way around this boy," right? I'm like, "You're gonna have many feelings. I can't. My main thing to them is, I cannot dictate to you your sexuality, your purposes. I know that having 4 sisters, that all of them have different sexual identities as far as, you know, how promiscuous they were at certain ages, the type of guys they like, and my parents had nothing to do with that." You know what I'm saying? Like, they like the gangsters. They like the gangsters for their own reasons.
I mean, yeah.
If they like this, if they want to fuck 20 dudes a year, they had nothing to do with my parents, because all of them were different. You know. So I take that to my daughters. Like, look, you come to me. I want you to be able to come to me with questions. You're not in trouble. Like, recently something happened where
you're low-key in trouble, but you're not in trouble.
No, not with me. Not with me. Look, something happened. I was like, look. First thing I'm gonna tell you, you're not in trouble. Like, look, just tell me what's going on. Here, like you just said with the story about the girl. Yeah. You want to have the baby, but here's how it's gonna be in real life. Yeah. And here's the good parts of it. And here's the bad parts of it.
Make your choice.
Make a choice. I'm not here. Y'all have your own path.
I can see Joe doing that shit.
Y'all have your own path. That's what
what can she do though?
Even have another child for myself. You know, I was like, here's a good aspect of having another child.
It's all the bad.
After the other 4 almost grown.
Here's
here are the things that are
job
not so good.
And now what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Yeah. So,
you know,
what you gonna do with the baby?
It's like the Dwayne Wade controversy, supposedly. I mean, you know, that's up to
Yeah, that's up to him. But I don't think people should call him a bad father. He's obviously present.
Yeah, I mean.
I didn't have
how he chooses
to
to parent. I mean, but how he chooses to parent is his choice. He's well informed and he's present.
So that's really all.
As long as they're not giving him hormones.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not mad at that.
If he's not giving him hormones, I'm cool with it.
Damn, Joe, that was the most level answer I've ever had from you. You know what? That time away, you done got leveled.
I'm always level.
All right.
Yep.
Y'all about to start some shit.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, man. We gotta end this shit before it turns heated. Hey, shit.
But nah, man.
Late.
Yeah. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired, man. And I got a long week ahead of me. But nah, man, this was a good episode. I'm glad you was able to join us. You know, again, Joe, man, I appreciate it. It's been a while.
Miss you.
Thank you. Miss you, bro.
That did not sound convincing, but all right.
Wonderful folk. What, for real?
He was like, yeah, miss you guys, yeah.
He's like, oh, fuck you.
That's really what it sounded like. It sounded like, fuck y'all.
But you know what? I love that. That's the response I like to hear. Actually.
It's authentic.
Exactly. I'm doing something right.
It's authentic.
But yeah, man. Anything else? You know, pick it up next week, whatever it is, because we got plenty of time to do shit. So. But this was episode 127.
Oh yeah.
Stop! Don't sing that. That video's stupid.
I'm not doing that. So I'm doing the actual Hispanic song. Not
No,
not that
whatever.
one.
But it's your boy Sean, Mr. NJ Big City.
Just here.
Joe Cool. I have 1 second. My bad.
Fuck, you got me. Shit.
You got me too.
Shit.
You got me too. You got me.
He got me. Goddamn. Damn, that's what happens when you ain't been on. Damn.
See that?
This is husband.
The shot fake works.
Fuck you.
Husband.
Fuck you. You ain't gonna pump fake me, motherfucker. You ain't shit. Oh, real quick before we're done.
What?
Oh, shit.
No.
What?
Look, real quick before we're done though. I saw something real quick that was about Lamar Jackson for the quarterback for the
Oh, yeah, great play.
for the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Oh, okay.
Shut the fuck
I'm
up.
about to say it.
Shut up. So the San Francisco 49ers, I guess it was like an announcer or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, he was like, he's able to do all the things he does because he's dark and he's about the same color as the ball.
All right. Just show on that shit. We'll end the show on that shit.
We will end the show on
Wait,
that.
what? No,
Yes,
no.
till
next time.
Wait,
This
I
was
like
the
it.
Famous Podcast.
Same unfamous time, same unfamous day. And this is
What the fuck? Somebody said that for real?
yeah, seriously.
All right.
Oh,
look it up. Look it up.
you.
Till
But,
next time.
Alright.
Till next time, guys. This is the Unfamous Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. All right.
See you
Peace.
guys later.
See you, man.
Yeah.
So